everyone. I am so absolutely freaking excited. You know what? I am changing this layout. There we go. Now
There
I
we
can see
go.
you a lot better. I have one of the most amazing people on today, so of course I have to look a little more fabulous. Um, I have Miss Healthy Chef SteFunny McPherson. She is absolutely DeFaRekinLicious. What I love about Stephanie, what I love about her is that she is so absolutely herself. Like she is fully embodies the idea of living for fun and living your life in such a way that's so authentic to you. No matter what's going on, it doesn't mean that everything's all pretty and beautiful, and I'm sure we'll get into that too. But what's great is that she's just this authentic light and puts so much beautiful, positive energy into the world. And I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Stephanie, tell us I like there. I can never give you justice for who you really are,
Whatevs.
but tell people a little bit about you.
So, OMG, Jeff, it's so amazing to be on here with you. I was so excited for this conversation. Tyler was texting with me today and he was like, am I going to be able to watch it live? I said, I'm not sure if it's going to be live or it's going to be pre-recorded, and then I, reached out and you were like, yeah, it's got to be live, baby. I'm like, hell
Of course,
to the yeah. But,
we're better
so
live.
hell to the, yeah. Oh my God. So like, thank you so much for such an incredible introduction. And, you talked a lot about like just my embodying, authenticity and, you know, to that, I feel like just throughout my life, even from when I was a child, that being myself or being something other than myself was just not an option. Being myself is non-negotiable. And but that doesn't, and I'm not really sure about the future at this present time, but just in what I live currently and what I've lived through is sometimes being your authentic self and really being true to who you are is off-putting to a lot of people because it's wild how when we're children we're taught, oh, be yourself, but then there's everything else that's teaching us to think or be inside of a box or follow down this path or walk in this straight line or act this way or do this or this is what's going to lead to success as what they have defined as success. And when I was a kid and I was being who I am on social media, what I am in a normal daily basis is no different. And as a kid, when I would be picked on and I would be hurt, my feelings would be truly hurt because I did put myself out there in this call it gregarious, whatever word you'd like to use. But I had this inner spirit, this inner drive, this inner energy that wanted to put itself out there. And when I did, I would be judged, I would be picked on, and but it never, there was something about it, even though through, painful experiences, that nothing taught me not to be myself. Not one time. And even in throughout life and in my adult life, nothing has ever taught me or told me you need to be something other than who you are. You need to be like this. You need to be what people can digest.
Mhm.
No, you can choke because Jeff, like hilarious, like seriously, there's freedom. There is pure freedom in the ability just to be authentically me, put myself out there, not give a rat's ass what anybody thinks, because those who are giving the rat's ass, the Dr. Seuss says, those who mind don't matter, those
Mhm.
who matter don't mind. But there's a lot of truth in that statement. And it's only a mirror. If you're rubbing somebody the wrong way just because of just being, and I'm not talking about being intentionally ugly or being, intentionally boisterous to intentionally make people uncomfortable. No, I'm talking about just showing up authentically, because so many people have locked themselves in that paradigm of I need to be this in order for success, or in order for people to like me. I have to, and no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I've definitely found that in my life, we go into these categories, and I fit in different categories throughout my life, and I've been a chameleon,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Because one of the things that I realized at a very young age is I was different. Okay. Didn't know gay until I was way older than I should have been. But um indifferent and knew that there was something that was calling for me to react differently. So I would be a chameleon. I'd just blend in. I'd blend in with people. And
Right.
so I could actually hang out with all the jocks. I was never really teased. Like once in a while someone would say fag or whatever because I'd march color guard or something like that. But I had a girlfriend,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So like I always just fit in. I was just there. And
Right,
then even in the gay world, you kind of just have to fit in. You just um are you a twink? Are you an otter? Are you a bear? Are you a leather person? What
right,
group are you in? And when you don't necessarily fit in to that label perfectly, it
right.
becomes this thing. And then your family's dynamic. I mean, obviously, that's a whole nother game that you're trying to um assimilate. And you realize that what I realized for myself is that the more authentic I am, the less trouble I get into.
Yeah.
Like really.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Because the trouble that you're talking about comes from trying to be something that you're not, because it's
Mhm.
so completely out of alignment with your core values, with who you are, with who you're uniquely here to be. And that's every person on the planet. And, to your point of being a chameleon and just fitting in wherever you were, how did that make you feel? Did it make you feel like you were diminishing yourself, like you really didn't know who you were?
For a long time, I know I didn't. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I talk about this so much is because when I didn't know who I was and didn't have there's a there's a famous saying, there's a song, if you don't stand for something, you're gonna fall for anything.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's not that I was necessarily not happy in different scenarios, right? It wasn't that I wasn't, but and not that they were. I was never always felt suppressed because a lot of times I'm probably one of the most unsuppressed people you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I also know that learning that and learning who I was and learning who it was is absolutely changed my life,
Mhm.
and being able to fully be here and just be like, this is
Mhm.
who I am, and being authentic and not feeling bad about it, not dealing with it, and this is this is it. And sometimes I'm quiet, and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes, I have to wear the big, huge, beautiful scarf, and sometimes I'm in my sweatshirt and hoodie, and you know, trust me, I spend more time in sweats than I ever do in jeans anymore. But I don't have
Yeah.
to.
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was going to ask you. I know that your journey was really interesting into your health journey. So, what really started? What was that impetus for you? Because it's been a lifelong journey at this point, right?
Mhm.
And it seems so natural
Mhm.
to you. But what really started you towards this
Towards, you mean that like health and wellness?
health and wellness? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just going to be real. It was a physical appearance thing.
Okay.
I was used to a certain reality up until a certain age. Like I was like 20, 21. I could
Mhm.
eat as much of anything as I wanted. I'd go to Pizza and Buffet and scarf down, no lie, 10, 12 pieces of pizza and 5 or 6 pieces of dessert on top of that. Dessert.
Yeah.
and looked like I worked out. And all of a sudden I was like 2021, and I started noticing some saddlebags, and I was like, I don't be thinking so. Straight up.
Right.
I was happening to be dating a guy who was a gym rat. He was in the gym like 5 days a week, and he had a very regimented way in which he worked out, back and buys, chest and tries, legs. Um, he way he ate like was tuna and grilled chicken and vegetables and plain rice and fat free. And I was complaining about some of the things that I was noticing about my body physically. And he said, well, why don't you come to the gym with me? And him and his friends taught me how to work out. I have
Yeah.
like kind of like a very masculine way, but I learned from guys. Like, okay,
Mhm.
well, and I would work out with them, and then I started, and obviously I learned the food thing. The food thing was, I couldn't go to Pizza Inn and just eat 25 pieces of pizza anymore. So then I was grilled tuna, chicken, tuna, vegetables, like really super, super clean eating. And I was fine with that. I was okay with it because I really enjoyed the results. I had more energy, I felt more active, and I liked what I saw in the mirror. And that was what the most important thing
Right.
was what I like when I look in the mirror. And so then a couple years later, I came across Cooking Light magazine, and a several year subscription. I taught myself how to make healthy food delicious, scrumptious. But see, also at that time, Jeff, I was, right around 1996, I came across the book, The Empowered Mind. I usually have it right here, because I was in a quandary. I thought that I initially wanted to go into architecture, but then I told myself there was too much math, and math is hard. I
Right.
told myself that, so I believed it. So then I was thinking child psychology. You know, I had run into some gentlemen that told me a very, very, very sad story about his grandchildren, and I felt, this amazing amount of empathy. I'm like, oh, I want to help children. I want to help children, know their worth and value as children, so they grow up with that knowledge, and then they're more likely to be more self-aware and self-assertive in their adult life.
Right.
And so I thought about that. And then it was a friend of mine told me about pharmaceutical sales. You'd be a dynamite drug rep. I'm like, tell me about that. His mother had a friend that was a drug rep. And I was like, whoa, yeah, that actually sounds great. So I, got a bachelor's in biology, and my goal was to pursue pharmaceutical sales
Mhm.
and then go into surgical equipment because I wanted to be in the operating room watching surgery. And damn, if Jeff, I'm gonna tell you right now, when I literally would be the down to the final two candidates. And anybody who's ever gone through pharmaceutical or medical device interviews or most B2B, it's a several step process. It takes 2 to 3 months to get hired. And it would unfailingly, for like 2.5, almost 3 years, be me and one other person. And then at the last millimeter of an eighth of a second, the other candidate would get ascended the offer. And it kept happening. I mean, and I'd be in these interview processes, and the managers would be like leaned in during
Mhm.
interviews, like, oh, we want you on our team. Yeah, oh, we want. I mean, I'd go into that interview knowing more about the company, knowing every core value, knowing the mission statement, knowing everything about the drugs, the cetirizine, hydrochloride, know the scientific names, which
Mhm.
is generic name, and and it just kept not happening and kept not happening and kept not happening, and it was like, what? I mean, I had doctors that were friends writing recommendations, letters. I mean, it was just, and then one different reason after another, I would not be ascended the offer. And then 2005, I did get the offer with GlaxoSmithKline, and it was a contract position where I was going to be contracting to co-promote drugs. And I know it's probably, after listening to me for a few minutes, it's probably going to be really hard for anybody to believe that I used to be a speed demon.
Really?
As fast as I could go until I reached the car in front of me, regardless of the speed limit. That's how I drove. So for every 10 times I got pulled, because I talked my way out of most of them, I would get a ticket. But if
Mhm.
those are the odds. If you've got, it's like the odds of getting a yes in a sale. For
Yeah.
every 7 no's, you'll get a yes. So I would, so when I received an offer, and they had to rescind the offer because I had too many speeding tickets. When
Oh,
because they do a background check after
right.
they send you an offer.
Mhm.
So that was devastating nightmare, one of the worst days of my life. I wanted to die. I mean, it was gut wrenching, just like how, for so long I had tried, gotten so close, so over and over and
Mhm.
over to receive it, to being like, I'm sorry, we have to take that back. So it was wild. Um, but what I woke up and realized was I'm the person responsible. I'm the person responsible. I'm the one who was in the car speeding. And so there was reflection there, but there was also, and this is huge, everyone, since I was 20, 21 years old, I had been on the physical fitness, health and wellness, and mindset, personal growth, self-aware, self-development journey. Pharmaceutical sales, and I didn't realize this until I was at a friend's, while necessary in certain incidences, is not the end all be all. It's not abuse your body, being
Uh-huh.
don't be completely unintentional about what you put into your mouth, no exercise, and go on blood pressure medication, diabetic medication, cholesterol medication to keep yourself alive.
Mhm.
It is, so I had been doing this for like probably about, it would have been about 12 years. And I was at my girlfriend's house, and that Kevin Trudeau's Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About came on as an infomercial. And I remember this was like 2000, this would have been 2006, I believe, because that's when it came out. And I remember just sitting there and I was just enamored. And it'd be like, Stephanie, you have been pursuing something that is so completely out of alignment with what you do for yourself, with your
Mhm.
own core values, that I don't care how many doors open in that industry, they're going to slam in your face shut until you wake up and realize that you're not supposed to be in that industry.
Yeah.
And, but it, because Jeff, I am fucking relentless. If I want something, Katie bar the door. I'm going after it with every ounce of my being. You know, it's like, "Ugh."
Uh-huh.
But I had to wake up and go, that's not in alignment. Again, sometimes pharmaceutical drugs and surgery are definitely necessary, 100%.
Yes.
But it's not, I'm going to rely on these drugs and just let my health go to shit. Um, I did get into surgical equipment. I loved being in the operating room watching surgeries. Love it. I watched open heart. Watched endarterectomies, tonsillectomies. So I did get to do that because there was a real passion,
Mhm.
like for wanting to watch that and be a part of that, and But then with that came its over and over and over disappointments within the industry, even though I was always one of the top reps
Yeah.
at every company I ever worked for. So again, a lot of soul searching, a lot of going, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And that's when Institute for Integrative Nutrition rotated on my feed, and it's like, become a health coach. That's what I've been doing since I was 20.
Yeah.
I, you know,
Yeah. And I could tell you that I've gifted Stephanie's cookbook to my old roommate for her birthday or Christmas or one of those.
it was a birthday. I
I
think it
think it
was
was her birthday too. And so I got to cook some of the recipes, guys. And not only are they pretty easy to follow, they're not these big complicated, I'm gonna make, you know, um, what is that called? The beef Wellington?
beef Wellington. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, beef Wellington, like, that recipe, and then you still fuck it up 90% of
Right.
the time. Like, nope.
Yeah, that's a difficult dish. I've
That
never
that that
tried it,
that
but
yeah, that one, I tried it once, because I was watching Chef Ramsay all the time, right? I was
yeah.
watching Food Network and all these things, and so one day I decided I'm gonna make beef Wellington. Everyone says, and because I'm a pretty good cook, ultimately I'm pretty okay. So I go to make a beef Wellington, and no, I'm not that good. I'm not that good. It, and I also can't make fried chicken. So between those two, and I don't know why I can't make fried chicken, honestly, because I know understand the concept of it all, but I always mess it up. I always have to put it in the oven. It just doesn't. It,
Do you have
I
an
can't.
air fryer?
I do have an air fryer, and my air fryer, everything I do now is in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Like 90% of my meals are being in the air fryer now because it's so easy.
I have an amazing recipe for like air fried chicken, air fried like chicken nuggets, or like fish, like fish, air fried fish with like an almond flour coating. Now, is it
Ooh,
deep fried Popeyes super crispy crunchy chicken? No, but it's equally delicious. It's a different consistency, but it still is crispy and crunchy. And this Greek yogurt remoulade sauce, I mean, one of my meal prep clients, like she's like, she wants that every week. I want those chicken nugget thingies with that remoulade, Greek yogurt remoulade, because it's so scrumptious. And see, and that's the whole point behind DeFaRekinLicious, is that healthy food is scrumptious. That when you eat something that either I prepare for you or a recipe that you've made of mine, that you're having an explosion, a flavor explosion in your mouth, that what makes you, oh, I want to eat that again and again. It's not about never cheating and eating the pizza or the cheeseburger and french fries, but it's about being intentional about most of the time. I just had a cheat, on Saturday, and it was like cheese and, I mean, eat, and it's
right.
okay to do that. And I wanted to go back to one of your earlier points before you asked me this question, and I went down the journey. When you were talking about self-awareness, and
Right.
that being the key to like a fulfilling life, the more knowledge of self, the sooner you get to know who you are. Like you were talking about being a chameleon and being what you thought everybody wanted you to be, and you felt happy because, I mean, um you received positive feedback because
Mhm.
everybody was comfortable.
Right.
You know, I make people, I don't make people uncomfortable, but sometimes my presence elicits something from the other person where they're uncomfortable. And the more you know yourself, the more aware you are of who you are, what you want, the core, the depth of your soul, of what you want out of life, how you want to experience life, the more authentic you are able to show up, and the more free you feel, and the more fulfilling you live, a fulfilling life
I
when
have a
you are
really good example.
authentic.
I have a
Yes.
really good example of that. I
Yes.
worked so we all know that I worked through restaurants, right?
Hmm.
And I worked in
Me
corporate
too.
restaurants, so I was moved around all the time, and I got placed in a restaurant underneath this guy, Anthony. And Anthony was this really gorgeous black man, about my height, really gorgeous, and was in the closet and was hiding himself.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been out since I was 18. So, and I have a whole story about that. It's somewhere. If you watch these
You've
videos,
you've you've shared that
I've
with me. Yes.
I have shared this. Actually, yes.
On
Watch
my
our
channel. Yes.
video with Empowered Conversations. We talked about this. Um, but Anthony, which wow, I don't think I've ever talked about this story. And this is actually a really good one for me to remember that I have in my. I'm glad that you brought it up. But Anthony was in the closet and very much hating himself, and this is early 2000s at this point, maybe late 90s, early 2000s,
Hmm.
and he was just very not ready to come out. He was African American. He did have all the cultural issues. He was
Hmm.
engaged to one of my friends, um,
Hmm.
and all these things, and he finally came out. But while I worked with him, I was out and open and end up, um, um, it's been long enough. Oh, had to see the statute of limitation. End up sleeping with one of our cooks that was
Well, I'm
also
sorry. You did or he did?
I did,
Okay.
and it kinda got out that I slept with one of the cooks
Right.
that was, absolutely gorgeous, like, we're talking 12s here, you know? Anthony's a good 8,
Yeah.
he's 8, 9, like, he's a
Yes.
nice looking guy, this is a 12. This is like, if you were to say, what would be the perfect specimen of male. This was it.
Right.
It was like he was stupid. He just walked in and I started drooling.
Yeah, yeah.
And I ended up sleeping with him, and Anthony found out, and Anthony was so pissed off because he wanted to, and he couldn't be open enough to even get the the whole thing. He couldn't do
Mhm.
it. No is going to experiment with somebody that is so quieted about what they're doing, right?
Right.
So what ended up happening, he ended up coming out, he ended up ruining like 10 different lives at that point because when he did come out, he was engaged and he
Yeah.
had and she had a daughter and there was all these things happening and it was really nasty, when
Mhm.
he came out. And I end up leaving the restaurant because he was so nasty to me. One day he says, "I don't need you here." And I said, "Okay, well, I'll call Ray in the morning." And called Ray in the morning and I was transferred out within the week,
Right.
you know. So and so he lost a manager. I'm like, and I'm a pretty damn good manager.
Right.
And so that was what does not being authentic cost you?
And that is the scary, your story. So I'm not answering your question, like what is not
Mhm.
authentic, being authentic, cost you. What I'm going back to is what is so sad, because I want to address that. I think it's very important to address the why of he was not comfortable coming to the world or being honest about who he truly was, is because of societal conditioning.
Yeah.
And we are moving away from that. We are shifting our paradigm into way more acceptance, and that it is, oh God, the norm, if you want to call it the norm, that it's so much more prevalent
Mhm.
than one would think or be aware of. And I can understand why he was scared,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I mean, people have been killed who've come out, as gay. You remember the boy that was tied to the fence and beaten,
Matthew
and
Shepard.
they saw the tears,
Mhm.
the blood tears, because and probably these two guys that beat him are home, or because usually if you have that much anger and rage, there's something within you.
Mhm.
Those, and I'm not saying they were, but those two guys probably had, like, they probably had that, like, that feeling of attraction to men, but
Yeah.
because they listened to whatever bullshit, wrong, dirty, sin, whatever, that, that they suppressed that, and it created that rage and anger because they couldn't be their own natural self, so they took it out and beat the fuck and killed somebody.
Mhm.
So I get the fear. I get why, I mean, I can't be honest about who I am, because I mean, even like, as women, like 100, 200 years ago, 300 years ago,
Oh,
where
yeah.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking openly and honestly and being my fabulous self,
I
with anybody.
Right.
It would be, what, but we have been, we have so much farther to go, but we are shifting, and it might be turtle
Mhm.
speed that we're shifting, but we are shifting. I do see it, to where one day that concept of having to hide who you are is like so distantly in the past. It's like what, like really, you couldn't be openly gay, you
Yeah.
couldn't be a woman and just, speak who, you know.
People don't understand. So, obviously, I come from a gay world, right? So
Hmm.
I have a lot of knowledge and experience in that, and people don't understand that even as in the '70s, I could be arrested just for holding hands with a guy.
Oh my God, I know. Oh yeah.
Like, you don't understand, like, how crazy, just absolutely crazy we have been around this,
Hmm.
and it makes people uncomfortable, and I get it makes
Hmm.
people uncomfortable. Like, but also, I don't necessarily sit there and talk about my sex life. Uh, like, and if I am talking about my sex life, you know that it's for one of 2 reasons. Either, number 1, I'm trying to shock your ass, or
Right.
number 2, because trust me, it gets wild, or number 2, I feel comfortable enough with you that we can have that conversation.
Right.
It's not some random I'm not gonna sit on this show and, like, talk about a lot of things, because it's not for everyone.
Mhm. Right, you can
Not
tune in or not, you can keep scrolling.
right,
You
you
don't
could
like
keep
what you see, read, hear, keep scrolling.
right. Now, I will talk about my relationship problems, and I have talked about my relationship as a whole because I think that's kinda more universal,
Mhm.
but, yeah, it's just different. It's different, and I can understand from you because you are so vivacious, you know, and that word is so good for you, vivacious.
Thank you.
Um, that I could see how people would try to go, "Wait a second, you're not," especially because you do live in the South,
Mm,
so, you have to be that Southern lady, buttoned up and put the pearls on.
I am not a
So
lady. My mama's like, "Stephanie, you need to be more ladylike." But mama, I'm not a lady.
right.
My mama's one of the sweetest people you ever meet, but she's very modest and she's
Mhm.
very, subdue and very demure and very scared to be her authentic self. And so, when she sees someone shining their light, it's like, "Oh, you need to be a lady. You need to." And I'm like, "Absolutely not," because there's a certain amount of respect. People might not like
Mhm.
you, or at least, it's they don't like what is being elicited out of themselves, but they respect you. People may not
Yeah.
like me per se, but they respect that Stephanie's going to be Stephanie. I don't need to have to be around Stephanie, whatever, but Stephanie is always going to be Stephanie unapologetically. I'm going to be myself. And and this is what going back to me being a child being picked on and my feelings hurt all the time. And but it was this drive. Like I have a drive. There's something in me, this little crank that's just turning. Like, put yourself out there, be in people's face, not in a boisterous, like obnoxious, but it's like I want the world. I love myself. I really truly love myself. And I want the world because of the feeling of freedom,
Yeah.
the feeling of freedom that like it's like shackles that you realize that you had no idea you're even wearing just
Mhm.
fall, or a prison door that to a cage that you had no idea you were even held up in. It's just when you are fully 100% just like it's indescribable, remarkable, uh every high vibe and word you can think of. Be yourself and knowing
Yeah.
yourself. And it's the great, there's a meme that says, "Knowing thyself is the greatest of all wisdom."
Truly. And truly, there is nothing that I no none of my achievements, my true achievements, came from me not knowing myself.
Cold
None of
chills.
my like, really, truly, my true achievements, like, my core achievements. So, when I think back on things in my life, right, going all the way through, like, being in being in music and being in the band and stuff like that, that was all very much me. Very and knowing that this is who I am, right, and being comfortable.
Hmm.
Number being color guard, that was me. I was second in the state. I was good, right? Going in and, being myself and coming out and having my sister's children going to Pride with them
Yeah.
because my sister was so comfortable that we all went to Pride, and it was never a conversation, and with one of the friends because, their parents aren't necessarily as welcoming.
Hmm.
I got to do that.
Hmm.
Donating $2.5 million to the Detroit Zoo so they could stay open through Pizza Hut was because I sent a job that I knew that I needed that was missing. I basically created a job description and they rolled out a whole program around it. And it was authentically me. So of
Yep.
course I rocked my ass off on it. Being a coach, being on this show,
Hmm.
being in the RV. This was the furthest thing that I ever thought was me, right? And even when there are a lot of times when I'm like, what the hell am I doing in an RV? I'm a city boy. I like going out. I like people for the
Yeah.
most part, right? But what I realize is that by being in this RV, I get to live a life and have experiences and prove to other people that
Yep.
they can have a life and have experiences that they would never be able to have sitting in the office, sitting in the restaurant,
Hmm.
sitting, you know, in their little cage,
Right.
and there are options.
Hmm.
There are options. And you are such an embodiment of that.
Thank you.
You are such an embodiment of knowing who you are to a point where it inspires people to be themselves.
Thank
You
you.
op- you open that space up.
Right.
So,
I
Steph,
celebrate that.
I know that you going back into the fitness and the health side of things. I know that you're doing prepared meals in town if they're local. Do you
Mhm.
do like meal planning and stuff like that with people also? Like,
Absolutely. Relative to what my like when I'm health coaching someone,
mhm,
if they want to learn to cook for themselves, then absolutely we're putting a game plan together of what they're willing to do, like based upon their skill level. I've taught cooking courses, but right now I am focused on doing full on meal prep where a fully prepared, delicious, scrumptiously delicious, healthy, nutritious meal is already all full prepared. All you got to do is heat it up because meal prep is actually a huge, huge potential industry. There's a huge amount of demand
mhm,
for all, you've got your Blue Apron, you've got your Fresh Chef, or not Fresh Chef, Sun Basket, like where they ship you the ingredients and all the food with the recipe and the instructions, but you still got to make it yourself. That's
mhm,
great. And all that food is delicious and it's healthy and good for you. But there are a lot of people who are like, Stephanie, I don't have time to prepare healthy meals. I've got this, this, and this when I get home from work, this with the kids, this soccer practice, this basketball practice. I've got this, this, and this. Hell, I mean, I want something done where I just have to heat it up. So that's what healthy chef staff is. Healthy chef staff, it's DeFaRekinLicious.
of
It's all
course.
about I'm preparing the meals, in the little container. It gets, delivered to you or you pick it up and then you just throughout the week you just put the meals. I highly suggest warming them up over the stove. I know
Mhm.
it's quicker in the microwave does dry out, we all know that to a certain degree, but it's still delicious. You can still you know however just eat the healthy meals.
So
And
I can make it in my air fryer, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I see.
Get it?
Okay, unless they're frozen. You see what I'm saying? Like if you pull something out of the freezer, it's gonna need a little bit longer um, cooking
Good time.
time
Yeah.
or heating time. But what I do is I just pull it out of the refrigerator and I just throw it in a saute pan, and within 3 minutes, you know, which is about the time in microwave.
Uh huh.
And then I've got this healthy, scrumptiously delicious meal that I'm thoroughly enjoying eating. But what this does is this takes the onus of I can't eat healthy because I don't have time.
Right.
That excuse is out the window because here's a healthy, delicious meal you're going to enjoy. All you got to do is take a couple minutes to heat it up. There's no more excuse if I don't have time. Here it is.
Yeah. It's crazy. And can you do
And
that?
yeah.
So, for instance, I'm not anywhere near you. So, can you get that shipped to me? And
Eventually,
okay.
eventually. No, for right now, it's just Charlotte and the surrounding areas that I'm servicing.
Okay.
But one day, on a very serious note, if I look at the bigger picture of the potential of what this can be for the world, or on a
Uh-huh.
larger scale, maybe not, I won't be shipping over to other countries. I don't know, that's a possibility, you never know. But yes, of course, that I have cooking warehouses, I guess probably like Blue Apron has,
Right.
where it's prepared in this facility, like say, in the Midwest, and then I got one out in the West, and I've got one in the Northeast, one in the Southeast, to where yes, meals can be shipped. That is a vision.
Awesome.
But right now, it's Charlotte, North Carolina, and the surrounding areas, which would be like Rock Hill, Fort Mill, Gastonia, maybe up to Statesville.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
I
and it's so funny because my I have to I have to like toot my own horn, y'all,
You
because
should.
I hear so often, people, oh, I can't stand something. I can't. I've had my Brussels sprouts.
Mm.
I've had at least three people say, "Oh my God, I can't stand Brussels sprouts. That's the best shit I've ever eaten. Oh my God, I love I like Brussels sprouts now because I had your Brussels sprouts." One of my girlfriends didn't like Brussels sprouts, and she tried mine on Thanksgiving, and she loved them. So then when she was at a holiday party at work, somebody brought Brussels sprouts, and she said, "You know what? I like Brussels sprouts now." Tried their Brussels sprouts and loved them. We're not talking about just boiled Brussels sprouts with
Right.
salt,
No.
pepper. So okay, and I got two more
Yeah.
stories about how people react to my food. Did one of these foodie fun lunches, and it was an Asian themed foodie fun lunch for this group of fabulous women, and I sent the menu out. Everybody knew it was an Asian themed. It was going to be like my Asian deviled eggs, my Asian slaw, broccoli slaw salad, and then the salmon, my sesame seared ginger orange glazed salmon was the main course. Well, I go and I show up, and we're doing these courses, and after the main course, before dessert, this one woman comes in, and she's like, "Oh my God." She says, "I hate salmon. My husband loves salmon. I won't allow him to bring it in our house." She says, "I had no idea that salmon was the main course, or I would have, if I knew that, I wouldn't be here today." And she
Mm.
says, "That was incredible. What's your secret?" And I just started telling her about how I prepare. She loved my salmon.
Yeah.
So, and then one more. 17-year-old boy, y'all. Y'all know how 17-year-olds typically eat, you know? Well, the first time I was on the phone with his mother, and we were talking about, their meals and what they like and don't like. I'm writing, I'm on the phone and I'm writing. And we don't hold phones like this anymore. It's like this, or it's
No.
actually it's on speaker. And I've got it, and I'm like writing. And she was speaking pretty fast. She goes, "We like this, we like this, and this, and we like this, and we don't like that, and we don't like that, and we like this, we like this." Well, I wound up writing two things that they didn't like in the like category for her son.
Okay.
And I made my maple mustard pork, glazed tenderloin for him for one of his first meals, and then my bolognese. And she texts me like a few days later. She's like, "Oh my God." She's like, her son, she's like, he's like, "I am never going to tell her what I don't like because I can't stand pork." That was absolutely delicious. And even he said, my ex, he told me the other day when I delivered meals there, because he gets my spaghetti every single time now. He's like, "Yeah, my ex was like, you don't even like spaghetti." He's like, "I love her spaghetti." So again, people think, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that." Well, try it a different way, and you might just love it.
I totally understand. I have a and your food is so delicious.
Thank you.
You're like literally I have definitely tried things that I don't normally like. Salmon is one of them. I don't eat salmon very often, so I totally understand how that woman because we did have your salmon recipe and it is really good. It's still not my favorite because I still don't love salmon, but it was actually edible. So, which is
Right.
on the level of like salmon and liver and onions are kind of in the same plate for me.
Yeah.
So, like, it's huge. Like, I won't even think about liver and onions, right? Um,
I've
and
never
mom,
had liver and onions, so I can't say if I like it or don't.
really?
Had liver. Uh-oh, there we go. There you
Oh,
are.
we're back. Yeah,
Yeah.
really? I can't imagine. Yeah, liver and onions. No, I don't like it. And mom made it every so often. Like it wasn't like a main meal. It wasn't in the rotation, but it was probably once a month. And it stinks when you cook it. It tastes like it's bad. It's just bad. It's scrapple is in the same category for me.
Gotcha.
Like you don't,
Gotcha.
you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
the stuff that just catfish. I worked at Cracker
Well,
Barrel for
catfish has
about.
got a lot of bones. I remember eating that as kids, catfish, fried catfish. But I love
It
fried flounder.
it looks like crap. It looks ugly on the plate. Like, the
Yeah.
whole thing, it's like, it doesn't even look right. It look like, even when it yeah. I'm not a huge fish person in general, and that's one of the reasons is because I had to serve too much Uncle Herschel's. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, you have such amazing ideas and amazing ways of making things that
thank you.
does make it edible. Like, some of the things that you
But
don't
more
think.
than edible,
Oh, no, you're
like
delicious. Most of the stuff is delicious, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I'm not
yeah.
you know, yeah, I got messy a little bit. Um,
I know you love my chicken piccata.
I love the chicken piccata.
Yeah, that's on the front of the cookbook.
Yeah, although mine never looks as good as yours.
This
Yeah,
is the cookbook, y'all.
yeah,
DeFaRekinLicious. Healthy is delicious, but that's the chicken piccata.
the
And it
chicken
is
piccata.
mind blowing. And I'm actually doing that for I picked up a family of four this week as well.
Ooh,
And that's
awesome.
one of the things they chose for one of their meals this week. I
They're
love
gonna
it.
get that. Make sure that's the first one for them, and they'll be hooked for the rest of,
Oh my
like,
God, I know.
that. The chicken piccata is amazing, guys. If you don't know Steph, she's a great cook, and she's a great chef, and she's a great recipe person. She has great ideas when it comes to being able to eat healthy, but she's just a fucking amazing person.
So are
Like,
you, Jeff. You're
really,
equally
thank
as
you,
amazing.
thank
You're
you.
always posting. You're always doing fabulous.
I'm
Out here
trying.
doing the same thing, inspiring the world, inspiring people. Like, be your authentic self. Just love yourself. But again, in order to know yourself and love yourself, or in order to love yourself, you have to
Yeah,
dig deep. I mean, like the Empowered Mind, the book I was talking about, like whatever, personal growth, self awareness. I just brought this. I bought for a girlfriend of mine. It's called the Lucky Girl Journal. And the,
uh,
the, the subtitle is The Dreams Started Chasing Me. But it's
yeah,
about digging deep into the core of who you are and discovering like what you love about yourself, what's amazing and awesome, what's super unique, what's cool, what your talents and skills, what you don't like, what drives you, what fulfills you, how you want to experience the world. What do on your and you through writing you discover. And that's how I discovered is
that
writing, answering these big questions.
that's truly my that is truly the Dragonfly program in a nutshell.
Yes, I
Like,
know.
literally, that's exactly what we do with the Dragonfly program is we go and
Right.
uncover, what do you believe? Where is this belief? Like, what do you believe? What is success to you? We're actually having a conversation tomorrow. Stay tuned tomorrow at 7 p.m. We are going to have a conversation that is, what is success to you? And how do you define your own success? Because it's different. It's
Absolutely.
probably, it might not be that corner office or the white picket fence.
Exactly.
I am not a white picket fence kind of boy. I will never have a white. Well, I can't say that because the transformational center might have a white picket fence just for fun. Um, I won't even say that. Um, I am looking at that. I have so many things to tell you personally that I can't announce yet. Um,
Well, I'm excited to hear 'em.
I am too. Stephanie, it has been amazing. We actually went over, which I kind of knew we were going to because it's you and I. Uh,
Oh, I
w-
know. Yeah.
we can't answer a question in under 10 minutes. So um, we're she's such an amazing person. Like, guys, if
You
you
said that
don't
like a
know her,
thousand times. Uh,
I know because
what the best way to experience my amazingness is just jump in, get to know me, ask me
right.
questions. Um,
j-
we have an experience of one another where we're both like, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. But it's like, you
because we've
know,
we've got she's such an easy person to get to know, and she's one of the people that is truly authentic. So obviously, you know, when you connect with her, you connect, and it's a
yeah.
authentic connection. So, guys, look her up. This is how you spell that. It's DeFaRekinLicious.com. Um,
You know what, Jeff? Let me, this is, I should have sent this to you, but I
yep.
have a new way. It's called healthychefsteph.com. That's real easy. Everybody knows how to spell healthy. Steph, I mean, Stephanie, Steph, healthychefsteph.com.
There you go.
That is easy.
Yeah, much
Because
easier.
DeFaRekinLicious.com is actually, because that domain is about to expire and it's going to be
Okay.
Healthy Chef Steph. But I'm
Awesome.
always going to have DeFaRekinLicious because DeFaRekinLicious is my baby.
Well, everything is DeFaRekinLicious.
That's
Everything
right.
you do is your life is DeFaRekinLicious. Come on. Come on!
Get it,
And
get it, get it!
you're helping everyone else get those DeFaRekinLicious lives. Really,
Hell to the damn yeah.
like I said, guys, this is one of the people that I absolutely love. You guys need to know her. And if you're not, more time for me. Haha. Um, I
Get it, get
love
it,
you
get
all. Um, you guys, I will see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. We're gonna talk about success on the um Tuesday Creator Talks. I have two amazing guests. Me and Heather have two amazing guests. We have Lee and Adam. I'm doing this on the top of my head, which is kind of fun. And they have amazing stories too. We're going to really discuss and get to the bottom of what success really is and how to start defining it for yourself. So you
Love it.
definitely want to just check in there, especially if you're on YouTube right now, or you can check it out in the Freedom Entrepreneurs United community. And ask your questions, guys.
Will it be live on your personal pages?
It will not be live on my personal
Okay.
page. It will be on the YouTube channel, on the True Awesome Network channel. And it'll also be live in the Freedom Entrepreneurs United community. And that was on purpose so that people can actually have an opportunity to ask the questions of the panelists and it not be huge broadcasts.
Right. True.
You know what I
That you
mean?
kind of cut out. It's True Awesome Life.
It's gonna be in the Freedom Creators United community on Facebook. And it will be in the on the True Awesome Network on YouTube. It will eventually
Check it
go
out,
out.
guys. Jeff and Heather. Heather is fabulous.
Speaking of fabulous people, I keep
Speaking of
fabulous people
fabulous.
around me, you know?
Yeah.
And what's great is when you're authentically yourself, people that also are authentically themselves start gravitating towards you.
Yes.
And you get to meet amazing people like Stephanie and Heather and me because I'm
Yeah.
fucking awesome too. All right.
Fucking awesome.
So you guys, I love you all. My computer's getting ready to die. I realize.
Oh,
I
oh
will see
shit.
you
We're
guys
gonna end
all
regardless.
tomorrow.
Thank you for watching the Creative Nomad Show. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, check out creativenomadshow.com. There is also a link at the bottom if you are an awesome creator and would like to be a guest. Know that you are loved.
Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.